So let's have a quick look through this quiz then. So question 1, 3 types of radiation, not a problem. Alpha, beta, gamma, had no problem with that. Alpha is the most ionizing because alpha is a helium nucleus. In other words, an alpha particle is made out of 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Now the neutrons are neutral, so they have no effect on the charge. The protons are positive, so they have a double positive charge. So because it's got the most charge, it's going to be the most ionizing. Okay, you had no problem with what an isotope. Well, you knew the difference. You knew the difference and the similarity between the different isotopes, and you knew the name of the isotopes. The word unstable means that something can decay. See, the carbon-12, that's just going to stick around as carbon-12 no matter what. Carbon-13 is pretty stable as well, I believe. Carbon-14 won't stick around. It'll still stick around for quite a while because if we learned earlier on, it'll take 5,730 years for half of a sample to decay. So but it is still unstable because eventually it will, at some point, decay into nitrogen-14. So, and you were able to complete that reaction, and you knew that that was an electron. I didn't quiz you on whether the name of that electron, but it's a beta particle. And then it was what's actually going on inside the nucleus for this to happen. So inside the nucleus of the carbon-14 atom, one of the neutrons decays and changes into a proton. That's why the atomic number goes up. But the mass number stays the same because no extra stuff was added and no stuff was taken away. It's just that neutron changed into a proton. And because the neutron and the proton had basically the same mass, the mass number stayed the same. And so when the neutron decays into a proton, it also produces an electron. So that is what's going on in all beta decay. We looked at alpha decay briefly, and we said, imagine we have an X turning into a Y. X has a mass number of 100 and an atomic number of 50. If we know it's going to be alpha decay, then we need to just remember that an alpha particle is a helium nucleus, which is it's going to have 2 protons, 2 neutrons, so atomic number of 2, and a mass number of 4. So because it's got 4 things and 4 nucleons, we used the word nucleon a while ago. Now this would mean that because the mass numbers, so first of all, alpha decay is much simpler than beta decay. It's much less weird. Simply 4 things are just falling off or flying off this nucleus. So the mass number went down to 96. The atomic number went down to 48 because that's what's come off it. So 50 went to 48, 100 went to 96. Does that make sense? Okay. Now we looked at half-life next, and we said 1,000. Imagine we had 1,000 carbon-14 atoms decayed into 500 carbon-14 atoms. It took 5,730 years. That's because 5,730 years is the half-life. So that's how long it takes to half. Okay, the half-life is the amount of time it takes to half. And if it was halving again, it would still be 5,730 years. So when I say how long will it take to get to 125, we need to work out how many times will it half. So it went to 1,000 to 500, then it went to 250, and then it went to 125. So it actually halved 3 times. Because of that, it's going to have 3 half-lives. And so to work that out, we just multiply the half-life by 3, and we get 17,190. That's how long it would take there. Okay.